Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's all bow down to our founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And our Shiksha Guru Suranath Prabhu and start this session. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the session, dear devotees. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I am going to share that one shloka which is very, very important in chapter 5. And then we'll jump to chapter 6. This particular shloka, Prabhupada has quoted many times, many times, and that's why it becomes very important. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer bhajan apakhota pateta tato yadi yatra kva vabhadram abhuddha amushya kim ko varta apto bhajantam swadharmatmaha. This is very, very important for us to understand. Apakko means, that means my devotional service is not complete. So what happens to a person whose devotional service is incomplete, right? That is what is an explanation, and Prabhupada uses this in many places to explain to us that even though our bhakti is not complete, it is okay. It is okay if we haven't completed our bhakti. Let's read the translation. One who has forsaken his material occupation to engage in devotional service to the Lord may sometimes fall down while in immature stage. Yet there is no danger of his unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. This is very important to understand, because sometimes we get that question of, am I doing right? Am I following the right path? Because the entire world is going in a different direction from what I am doing. We say that we don't eat onion and garlic. We don't want to engage in worldly activities. We restrain ourselves from material activities. But yet we have not seen Krishna, or we are not completely purified. So Prabhupada uses this to make us understand that one who has taken to the Charanambujan Harer, Hare means Krishna, Hari, it comes from the root word Hari. Charanambujam means the lotus feet of Krishna. One who is engaged in serving the lotus feet of Krishna, even though Abhadram, that means even though he falls down, there is nothing ill happening to him. He will continue his bhakti. But at the same time, one who is completely engaged in worldly activities, however perfect he is in that, there is no use. In the sense, one who is a PhD and has acquired a lot of fame and name and money and goodness in heart and everything he has, there is no use of it if he hasn't taken up to bhakti, because it completes in this janma only. There is no, he will not carry it forward. But bhakti, even though you're doing little bit of bhakti, like patram pushpam phalam toyam yume bhakti pranashati, even if you're just putting one glass of water to Krishna and saying, Krishna, my belief is only this much, or my service to you is only this much, that has results in the next janma for you. But being very successful in material endeavor is no use. That is what Prabhupada wants to say. And this is an important shloka. Make a note of it and study the purport. It gives you a very good purport as to why we are doing bhakti, the essence of bhakti. Canto 1 is very nice because it gives you the ashraya tattva, or it gives you the eligibility to enter into Bhagavatam. Canto 1 and 2 will give you the eligibility to enter into Bhagavatam, because what is eligibility? To understand what bhakti is. If you are able to understand even little bit of what bhakti is, Bhagavatam becomes, it reveals itself very nicely. But if you don't even understand the essence of bhakti, it is very difficult to understand Bhagavatam. You'll only understand the Leela of the Krishna, but the tattva will be lost. And that's why we have to go through the door of bhakti. And that's why Canto 1 and 2 becomes very important, especially Canto 1. Canto 1 is the most beautiful canto because it talks about the bhakti tattva. The basics of bhakti it talks about. Okay. I thought I'll share this with you because it is an important verse. I will try to cover as and when we move forward. I'll pull the important verses and we can just go back and relish the sweetness of these verses. Okay. Today we are going to continue with chapter 6, and chapter 6 what it talks about the conversation between Narad Muni and Vyasadeva. We actually got the essence from Anil Prabhu and Bharti Mataji as to what was in chapter 5. Chapter 5 dealt with Narad Muni's previous life. What happened, right, in his previous life, what he was. And he gives an example. He actually says, whatever you've written is very unsatisfying to the world because you're writing about the Vedas. And Vedas is talking about the fruitative activities. Doing that fruitative activities, people will not be satisfied. They may seem satisfied for a certain time, but over a period of time, punar punar charvanam. Prahlad Maharaj says, punar punar charvanam. It's like chewing gum. The more you chew the chewing gum, what happens? The sweetness is gone and it becomes boring. The same food, if you keep eating over and over again, you lose taste in it. In the same way, the over and over the fruitative activities, you do some yagna, you'll get something, you'll enjoy that, but then again you're bored, again you'll go do something. So that does not satisfy the soul. It only satisfies the senses, and even the senses, it is not complete. Because it is currently we may all be facing that, right? You're all excited to go to a trip or a picnic or something, but the minute you go, it's not so enjoyable. The planning was nice, but the minute you go and come back, you're actually in the same state. Or any gadgets that you buy, the minute it comes to your hand, you're bored again. So this material, whatever opulence is there, that does not give us satisfaction. What gives satisfaction to the soul, even if it is a very small amount, it gives a lot of peace and satisfaction. That is bhakti. You may all be seeing that in your day-to-day life. In the beginning, it was very difficult for you to chant, but when things are not going so well in your life, right? If you sit and chant one round, forgetting everything about all your problems, it actually gives you more peace than, even going on a trip or winning a lottery. It actually gives you more peace. And that is what, to explain that, what Narad Muni did is he gave his own life example. He says that, how bhakti came into his life and how he was blessed by the elated souls, the sages who had come and who took his service, and he gave him the instructions. He said a little bit about his life and how he came into bhakti in chapter 5. Now, chapter 6 is going to open up with the questions from Vyasadeva. What is his questions? From the mouth of Sukadev Goswami, we will see. If you see the chapter beginning, Sukha it will say, or Sutta it will say. Why? Because whatever questions Vyasadeva asked to Narad Muni, it actually comes through from Sukadev Goswami telling it to Parikshit Maharaj. And when we hear it, it is actually from the mouth of Sutta Goswami that we are hearing. Whatever Sukadev Goswami said to Parikshit Maharaj, Sutta Goswami is telling Shaunakadi Rishis. Okay, it is different layers it is. But we will follow the conversation. So what does he ask, right? We will see that in a minute. Sorry. So questions from Vyasadeva. What are these questions? This is not before, it is after Narad Muni talks about his own life and how bhakti, he was blessed with bhakti. After that, Vyasadeva has these questions. Answers from Narad Muni, Lord's appearance, Lord's instructions, and benediction about devotional service. See, it may seem like a very small Leela where Narad Muni actually saw the Lord. It is actually a very big thing. But when we say it, it's just one line, right? Okay, Narad Muni happened to see the Lord in his heart. It's unachievable. It's a very high, great thing, Because why? Because Krishna is very great. He's a supreme personality. If you understand Krishna's greatness, then you'll understand the magnanimity of Krishna manifesting in the heart of Narad Muni. Okay? And that purity we should have. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in this chapter saying that how much pure we should be to approach the Lord. We have to be very, very pure. Otherwise, we can't approach the Lord. So it may be just one line we can think, but when you go deeper, why we go deeper? Because we want to implement in our life. See, this is very nice to hear. Like it's like an entertainment, we can hear and leave it. But if you take it to the heart, every line is explained in detail in Bhagavatam so that we try and understand the tattva behind it and how we can implement in our life. And it has a very, very high reach. It is written in Bhagavatam, I don't know which shloka, it says that you can become the master of this world. But to have darshan of Krishna is very difficult. Many, many demigods are waiting to take darshan of Krishna. Okay, and many Brahmaji is waiting to take darshan of Krishna. Vishnu is waiting. Can you believe that? Vishnu himself is waiting to take darshan of Krishna, right? So it is very important for us to understand that darshan of Krishna is very rare, and out of his causeless mercy, he sometimes does give darshan. And one such encounter is our Narad Muni, who happened to have the darshan of Krishna. Okay, so after having that darshan and everything, Vyasadeva asks him certain questions. He says, okay, after the Lord's appearance, and what was the instructions? How did you come into bhakti and things like that? Especially, he asks few important questions which may have come to our minds also. We'll quickly go through that. What did you, who is this? The Narad Muni, do after the departure of the great sages who had instructed you in the scientific transcendental knowledge before beginning of your present birth? Now, Narad Muni is Narad Muni, right? But in the previous birth, what did you do as soon as those sages departed? What did you do? How did you perform bhakti? In essence, they are asking, how did you perform bhakti that you got the audience with the Lord? How did you pass your life after initiation, and how did you attain this body having quit your old one in due course? How did you get this transcendental body as an Narad Muni? Right? And after initiation, what did you do? Right? What is initiation? The sage is giving him that Brahma Vidya. They taught him, they gave him the instructions, and they gave him the Leela of Krishna. They were able to give the Krishna Katha to him, and they gave him certain instructions on how to chant the Lord's name. That is initiation. So they're asking, after initiation, what did you do? How did you pass your life? And how did you get this particular body, which is a transcendental body? Time annihilates everything in due course. So how is that the subject matter which happened prior to this day of Brahma is still fresh in your mind? This is a very important question. See, as we change body, what is one thing that happens? We forget our previous Janma. It is in a way good for us to forget our previous Janma. If you don't forget, then the attachment will still be there. You will start searching for your previous Janma's father and mother and forget to do the karma of this Janma which Krishna has given you. You'll forget to take care of the family that Krishna has given you in this Janma. You will run behind the old Janma because you have lot of feelings, lot of emotions. And that's why when you take birth, you will forget what happened in the previous Janma. That is the difference between Krishna and us. How does Krishna remember everything and we don't? In Bhagavad Gita, he tells Arjuna, this is not the first time. You and me existed before, we exist now, we will exist in the future. And all these kings that who have assembled here, whom you have to fight with, they also exist forever, he says. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Why does Krishna say that? How does he remember that? Because Krishna does not take new bodies. There is no Janma for Krishna. Krishna, how he was, he is like that only till now. Even in the future, he is going to be the same. Because he is not changing the body, he will remember everything, the past, present, and the future. It is one frame for him. But for us, it is different frames because we are taking different bodies. And that was a question from Vyasadeva saying that, how do you remember? You are telling me some story about your previous Janma when you were a 5-year-old boy. How do you remember that? How can I trust that all of us forget when we take new bodies? How come that you remember all these things? That was his question. Now, answers from Narad Muni. In my previous life, due to association of great sages, I was imparted the transcendental knowledge and was initiated into bhakti. Once I was initiated, there was a tremendous change in my life. See, bhakti, many of us are practicing sadhakas, and you may think there is nothing, no change happening, and it is very subtle. Bhakti is not hardcore, it is very, very subtle it is. So you may think, Array, nothing is happening in my life. I am doing from past 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, no change in me. Actually, you will not feel the change. People around you will start feeling the change, and there is definitely a change. How to you react to situations, how you lead your life, and how you deal with things, day-to-day things have changed actually. How you think about things also have changed. You have more gnana now. Although you are angry at somebody, you will not feel that intensity of anger, because after that moment you will feel they are part and parcel of Krishna. You will not have that animosity, that revenge against them, right? That is one example. And anger itself will be controlled to a lot extent. To a large extent, you'll be able to control your anger. And to the large extent, your renunciation of the world has begun. You're not so keen on acquiring things. You're not so keen on endeavoring for things anymore. You're happy, you're content with what you have. And your trust is completely on Krishna now. Without you knowing, all these changes would be happening. So that is why bhakti, it is very, very rare. And once it comes into your life, right, changes do happen. In the same way, Narad Muni, when bhakti came into his life, tremendous changes happened in his life. That is what it is saying. I was the only son for my mother, the maid servant, and it became her life's mission to take care of her dependent. She became very attached to Narad Muni as a child. Narad Muni previously was born in the womb of a maid servant, and that maid servant had nobody other than Narad Muni. Because she had nobody, she felt overly responsible for taking care of this child, and she became overly attached. She had no other distraction in her life. The only sole purpose of her life was this child, right? And her happiness and her weakness both was the child. You can understand it that way. Both her happiness and weakness was the child only for her. She was overly attached. Due to, see, this line is very important, very, very important. Due to the Lord's mercy to draw me closer to Him, my mother was taken away from me. Now the only thing I could depend in this world was the Lord's mercy, completely under His care. See, it is very important to understand. See, the only source of dependency that Narad Muni had in his previous life was taken away by the Lord. And the way he expresses that is amazing. It is a life lesson for all of us. Again, what does he say? He says it was a special mercy from Krishna that he took away the only sole dependency that I had. It is like this. Sometimes what happens is there are four pillars in your life, and you are standing in a like a stage, like four pillars are there and it is giving you shelter. You are under that, okay? Behind those four pillars, you don't know that Krishna is the one who's holding that pillar. Okay? In your life, before you came into bhakti, Krishna was holding that pillar and supporting you. But if Krishna loves you too much, he will eradicate all those pillars and he will stand. Many things in our life is taken away from us when bhakti begins. It may be very difficult to digest that. But what happens is, we may be thinking, Array, this person is there for me, my job is there for me, my finance is there for me, my health is there for me, my name is there for me. It will protect me throughout my life. All that is coming from Krishna. Krishna is supporting that in your life. But when you become overly attached to that, then what? If Krishna really loves you, he will take away all those things from you. When he takes away all those things, you don't have shelter. That is when you will raise up your hand like our Draupadi, like Gajendra, like our Narad Muni in this case. Narad Muni had only one support system, that was his mother, who was taken away. In our life, how many support we have? We have our parents, we have our spouse, we have our children, we have our finance, we have money, enough money, fame, everything will be thinking. At one point, Krishna will take away everything from you. Then you will realize the only support actually I have is Krishna. But to come to that understanding is very difficult, because you are in lot of pain when it is taken away. Here, Narad Muni is a very, very realized soul, and that's why he says special mercy from Krishna. He is able to willingly accept their reversals in his life. How many of us will be able to accept that? We will say, Are, I'm putting Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam for the last 2 years to Krishna, and Krishna took away this. How can Krishna do this? Is God there? Am I just doing a blind bhakti? This is our reaction, because we've not realized it yet. Right? So, this is an important lesson for us to understand everything that is happening to us in our life. Krishna is trying to protect our bhakti and come closer to us. And we have to accept those reversals. Nothing can happen in your life which has not been passed through Krishna. Krishna has approved it, and that's why it is happening in your life. You have to understand that. Okay. Confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. This is also important. Every step of the way, you should understand that it is Krishna's mercy. It is Krishna's mercy. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it. So, what is Prabhupada saying here? Prabhupada is saying any opulence of this material world is like a fever. The more you have, it's very difficult to understand this. Sometimes Krishna teaches us a lesson by giving the opulence. Sometimes he teaches us a lesson by taking away. If we know how to handle the opulence of the Lord, given by the Lord, and still be dedicated and devoted to Krishna, then Krishna will give us that. Unfortunately, what happens in most of our lives is when material opulence touches, we forget Krishna. And that's why, to reduce that fever of material opulence, Krishna takes away that. It is like being sick. Material sense gratification is like being sick. The more we get it, the more sick we are. So Krishna, as a doctor, is finding a solution by taking it away and reducing the temperature. Okay. Next, desire to inquire. What do we learn from Vyasadeva asking these questions? Desire to inquire from a guru. See, he just told that story of how he became a bhakta. But Vyasadeva is asking those questions to understand it better so that he can become a bhakta. He's asking questions. Even in Bhagavad Gita, it is there, right? How do we ask question to a guru? Very submissively, very with lot of humility, we have to ask a question. And we cannot ask mundane questions. When will I get promotion? When will I have a child? Those are not the questions we should ask our guru. How can I progress in my bhakti? How can I increase my chanting? These are the questions we have to ask, because the guru is not to take away all your material problems, right? He is not like an astrologer giving you the timeline as to when good time will come in your life. That is not the question. That is a low level question, because our guru is higher than that. He is transcendental. He is above the three modes of material nature. And why are we dragging him to the material world, right? We should ask the questions in the transcendental platform and not in the material platform. And that's what Vyasadeva is doing. Second thing that we learn here is accepting reversal in life as mercy of the Lord. This we discussed at length. To understand that something bad happens to me, we should not blame Krishna for it. One, it may be our karma. And for that, tattenu kampastu samikshamano, the shloka that we are going to understand tomorrow is very important. That means whatever karma pala I have got, let me take it, Krishna. Let me go through it. Because when I go through it, I am purified. When I am purified, I come closer to you, Krishna. That should be the mentality of a devotee, right? The reversals happen for two reasons. One reason is because of our karma pala, where we have to go through that suffering. And Krishna is giving us only 0.1% of that suffering, right? 100% karma we've done, but Krishna is giving me only 0.1. So let me take that, accept that, and purify myself. Let me come out of it successfully. That is one way of understanding. Second way of understanding is Krishna is only giving us. Sometimes Krishna is trying to bring the bhakti in us, putting us through these tough situations. We become closer to Krishna. In the next chapter, I think we are going to six, right? This is six, seven, or eight, I think, is Kunti Maharani's Stuti. Kunti's Stuti will start. And you will see how beautifully she says, give me tatra tatra, she says, give me more and more reversals in life, because when reversals touch me, you are right next to me. When I am happy, you are not there with me, Krishna. When difficult times come to me, I am not the one who is going through it. You are next to me, you are holding my hand. So let me have more reversals. And she also goes through all the reversals in her life and she glorifies. See, sometimes in our life, what happens when dukkha comes, when we are sad, we start saying, ah, that day this happened to me and I went through so much. This day this happened to me, I went through so much. We have to learn from Kunti Maharani. She says, yeah, that day that happened, but Krishna, you saved me. That day this happened to my child, Krishna, you saved me. She is using every reversal and every bad thing in her life, what happened, to remember the Lord. But what we do, we just have self pity and we go through so much of lamentation when we remember such things. That is a difference between a devotee and a sadhaka like us, right? So we have to accept the reversals. That is what we learned from Narad Muni's life. Gaining faith and strength of mind by traveling and preaching. This is also very, very important. We have to travel to the Dham. We have to strengthen our faith in Krishna. These reversals actually help us strengthen our faith in Krishna. It makes us stronger. There is a song, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. There is an English song. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Like that, whatever reversal is coming, it is making you stronger. Mentally, you're becoming stronger, and your faith also on Krishna will become stronger. If it is, if your life is going like this all the time, right? You'll chant something, you'll attend some class, and it is over. When something comes in your life, then you call out to Krishna and Krishna comes and helps you, right? Then your faith will become, next day chanting will be very nice, right? That is what it means. And once you understand the truth of the absolute truth, you must glorify the Lord. Whenever you talk to your friends and your relatives also, you have to drop those things. Arey, this happened to me, and I called out to Krishna, or Krishna is so merciful. Because of him, I was able to get through it. Somehow proclaim about the Lord wherever you go. That is what it is saying. And traveling to Dham is very, very important. Before that, we have to have Dham Shraddha. Dham Shraddha should be there. What is Dham Shraddha? To understand the magnanimity and transcendental nature of the Dham, right? It is covered. Yoga Maya covers the land with dust, with ants, with monkeys, with lot of mosquitoes and everything. She's covering it because she wants to hide that from the mundane people. You have to have lot of purity to see the beauty of the dham. So first we have to acquire that. That is where the strength in bhakti also comes. Once you have that, then you will be able to understand what the dham is, and then you have to travel to the dham. Just give me one. Sorry, dear devotees, I have a bad cold and suddenly I get cough. So we have to understand what a dham is, and we have to try and travel more to the dham. At least once in 2 years, we should make a point to travel to the dham and also do preaching activity. Once we have acquired that strength and bhakti in Krishna, we have to preach more. Where you don't have to have a Zoom class to preach. You can preach at home, at to your family, to your friends, to whoever your acquaintances. In the beginning, you don't even have to, push hard. Just tell what you have gone through in life and how Krishna has helped you. That itself is preaching. Effects of seeing the Lord's beautiful form. See, this is very, very important. See, once you see the Lord, right, there is nothing more to see. The heart becomes very, very purified and satisfied. If all the sense organs is rejuvenated. It is a different feeling of seeing the Lord. And seeing the Lord is a very, very high stage in bhakti. It goes beyond prema. Okay, darshan of the Lord is a 13th stage, they say. And that 13th stage will, how will you know that you've really seen the Lord and it is not hallucination? Because you will have changes in your body, like hair standing on end, temperature raising, when you are talking, you will start stuttering, right? And you'll start sweating. Shadvikara, something they call that, where you will see symptoms where you can't even hold yourselves. Many people fall unconscious. And we shouldn't do artificially all these things, and we should hide all these things, they say. Sahajiyas, there are a group of Sahajiyas who prematurely think that they are friends with Krishna and they're talking to Krishna. They will do all that. All that is not good, right? We shouldn't expose that. It is a beautiful melody with Krishna that you have, a beautiful encounter. And people who have gone through this will never reveal it. Okay, and that's why the effect of seeing the Lord is a very, very high reach. I'm telling you, it is a 13th stage of bhakti. We've not even come to the first stage of bhakti. Okay, we'll discuss more someday about the different stages of bhakti. Darshan of the Lord is, it goes beyond prema. Prema is the highest level we can reach, but this goes beyond prema. Okay. Next, Lord's appearance to Narad Muni. As soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down my eyes. And without delay, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus of my heart. Krishna is very, very merciful. As soon as he saw that, this person, the child was crying, as soon as he saw that the child was crying, he was able to manifest himself for the vision, right? It's a 5-year-old child. Imagine a 5-year-old child who has nobody to take care, who is in the forest hungry and thirsty, and he is calling out to the Lord. And the Lord's heart melted because there is a lot of purity in a 5-year-old child. Why there is purity? The contamination of the world has not touched the child. The innocence of the child is maintained, and it does not have all these manipulative, cunning attitude. It is pure love that the child was showing towards the Lord. And that's why the Lord manifested in the heart. And this is very important. What is he meditating on? It is the lotus feet of the Lord, right? It is the lotus feet of the Lord. That is a complete submission, complete surrender to the Lord. That is. The first initial stage is called Shraddha, or the liking of the Supreme Lord. And in order to increase that liking, one has to associate with pure devotees of the Lord. The third stage is to practice prescribed rules and regulations of devotional service. This will dissipate all sorts of misgivings and remove all personal deficiencies that hamper the progress in devotional service. So, Shraddha is the first stage. Shraddha is a little bit of faith, little bit of liking to Krishna. See, but you can't come into bhakti just like that. Little bit somewhere, some sukruti. Somehow your heart is melting to this one form of the Lord. right? You love this Lord for some reason. God knows why. Little bit only it is. It's not too much. It is little bit. And little bit of faith. Array, I know this will happen. I mean, if I can trust, that faith will start. That is Shraddha. All of us begin with that state where we have a little bit of liking or little bit of faith on the Lord. Then what happens? Sadhu Sangha. We get the association of our gurus and other devotees. Okay, once we get that association, right, a little more, that Shraddha will increase. Array, I'm not the only one. There are other people also. That means it is correct. What the direction I'm going in, reaffirmation happens of our faith. And then what do we do? The third stage is where we are following certain norms. I have to get up in the morning early. I cannot do intoxication. I cannot do meat eating. I have to start chanting. These rules I will start following. Why are these rules in place? Any ideas? Why do we have rules in bhakti? What the do's and the don'ts? There are certain things which we have to do, certain things we shouldn't do. What is it doing? It is actually purifying us. It's actually purifying us. Because with an impure sense, we cannot do pure bhakti to adokshaja. Pure bhakti cannot be performed. Today, what we are doing is not pure bhakti. We are still in the purificatory process. Once that purification happens, right, then we will be situated in a stage of nishta. It is 7.26. I think it is 7.26. Esham tva antagata papam janmanam karmanam. What that shloka says is, there is, when the antagata papam, the papa is completely vanquished. We've gone through all the suffering, we've all gone through all the pious activities, everything is gone out of my life. Bhajate mam dridavrata. I will have that dridavrata to perform bhakti. See, right now we have both pious and impious things in our life. In our account, we have both good and bad, good credit and bad credit. That antagata papa means what? Many, many janmas I take to clear this out. That clearing process is the do's and the don'ts that we are following right now. Many janmas later, you continue, whether you're doing every day you're able to get up to chant, or once in a while you're able to get up, it doesn't matter. Keep doing. Antagata papam. Antya of papa happens. Then you will be born in a family with such good environment, conducive environment, where you can perform drida bhakti to Krishna. From then your pure bhakti state starts. That is what it is saying. That all the personal misgivings, all the papa is removed from your life when you perform with rules and regulation. That's why we should not think, Monday Shivji, Tuesday Gauriji, Wednesday Dadji, this Ji. No, we shouldn't use our brain to perform bhakti. We should follow the scriptural injunction so that we can clean up the problems in our life. Sri Narad Muni in his previous life attained that stage very quickly. After his departure from home, it was quite possible for him to perceive the actual presence of the Lord, which he tangibly experienced by his developed spiritual senses without material attention. For Narad Muni, it happened like that. Why? First of all, he was 5-year-old and he got to eat the uttishta of elated sages. The elated stage. See, this is Kripa Shakti, the mercy. Through mercy, he was able to rise up in bhakti very quickly. For us also, we keep doing bhakti. Some Maharaj, somewhere, they show mercy. We will be able to perform better bhakti. That's why we have to serve our Guru. Serve the Guru Vargas. If they are very pleased, we can progress quickly in bhakti, and that is what happened to Narad Muni. And that's why Lord gave his gracious presence. Even though it was just for a moment, he gave it to our Narad Muni. This shloka is also very, very nice. Spiritual feelings of happiness and intense ecstasies have no mundane comparison. Therefore, it is very difficult to give expression to such feelings. See, the transcendental mellow, the rasa, that Prabhupada writes in many books, Rupa Goswami writes, Sanatan Goswami writes, Jiva Goswami writes, everybody writes, but we don't understand. We don't understand. Because till you eat a gulab jamun, how can somebody explain gulab jamun to you? Right? If I ask you, you've never eaten gulab jamun, I say, it is sweet, it is sticky, you have to bite into it, the rasa comes, you won't understand. When you put it in your mouth only, you will understand. It's the same thing here. No words, no comparison of this world can explain the bliss and the ecstasy you will feel in transcendental mellow. We can just have a glimpse of such ecstasy in the words of Narad Muni. Our Prabhupada is so merciful, so merciful. We should be very thankful for him. See, he understands our plight. He understands that we don't get it. And he says, Arey, I'm so sorry, dear devotees or dear disciples of mine. I know you don't understand. But when you read this, you will get a glimpse of it. If you read it carefully, you will get a glimpse of that. Right? Each and every part of the body or sense has its particular function. After seeing the Lord, all the senses become fully awakened to render service unto the Lord. Because it is the liberated state, the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevaya Bhakti Uchate. That is the sentence that Prabhupada is trying to explain. What is that? Rishikesha Rishikena Sevaya Bhakti Ruchate. Rishikesha means one who is the master of senses. See, all these senses, there is a master for that. Not me, not the individual soul. It is actually Krishna. Because Krishna has empowered his Shakti in each of these senses that they can perform a particular function. But actually, their function is to Krishna. My senses, although I say it is my senses, the function, the ultimate motive of those senses is to perform bhakti to Krishna. That is when it is fulfilling for those senses. Today they are engaging in material things. I look at a material object, I get attracted. My senses are getting attracted. But the original function of those is to serve that master. Who is the master? Rishikesha Rishikena Sevaya. The ultimate master of my senses is Krishna. And when my senses are engaged in Krishna's service, that means it is the highest perfection of my senses. And that is what Prabhupada is saying, that when the senses come to their actual position, what is their actual position? To render service to Krishna. And that feeling is totally different. You don't have to control it. Once you do perform bhakti, automatically your senses will dovetail to want to perform. How can I serve my Lord? They will say, your senses. Instead of looking at the mobile phone or looking at any disturbance of this world, they are all focused in performing bhakti. It is very easy then to perform bhakti because your senses are listening to you. More than that, they are listening to Krishna. Instead of listening to this material world, they are listening to Krishna. After seeing the Lord, all the senses become fully awakened to render service unto the Lord because it is a liberated state. Today they are caught in this material world. If it is liberated, they all want to serve the Lord. State, the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. As such, in that transcendental ecstasy, it so happened that the senses became separately enlived to serve the Lord. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevaya Bhakti Ruchate. This being so, Narad Muni lost himself in seeing both himself and the Lord simultaneously. He completely lost the feeling of him. There was no him anymore because his senses, his mind, everything got aligned to Krishna. It got aligned to Krishna. He completely lost control of his body. He forgot his body. That's what it means. The sense of him as a body, he forgot that. He was completely in Krishna consciousness. Lord's instruction to Narad Muni. What are the instructions of the Lord? See, what happens is after this, I'll come to that. Immediately lost the vision and was totally perturbed. So what happened? He had that vision only for a fraction of a second and he lost that. The Lord then spoke to Narad Muni to pacify him as follows. So what happened? It says that, why did the Lord give only 1 second of darshan to Narad Muni? He will explain. The Lord himself will explain that. So immediately he vanished, and here is the instruction. Incomplete devotional service, perfection is still not reached. He says, oh child, your bhakti is not complete. It is not complete. You still need perfection. And that's why I cannot give you darshan. Once that Narad Muni had the darshan of the Lord vanished, and he starts crying. He starts searching for the Lord everywhere. And he says, I want to see you again. His heart is so much in pain that he cannot continuously see the Lord. The Lord again felt merciful on the child, and he speaks. This time there is no vision. He is actually talking, and he says, your bhakti is not complete. It is not pakwa. It is not complete. You need to complete your bhakti. Then you will be able to be an associate of mine. He promises. Lord promises Narad Muni that you will be an associate of mine, not completely free from material tents. There is no trace of tinge of materiality in his person, and thus one has to slightly. So this is what I was trying to tell you. We have to be 100% pure to reach the Lord. Even if we have little bit of material tinge, we cannot see the Lord, or we cannot get an encounter audience with the Lord. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when we are freed from at least 2 forms of material modes. What are the 2 forms of material modes? Passion and ignorance. At least we have to be in Sattva Guna to at least hope to get an audience with the Lord. The result is exhibited by the signs of being lusty and lobha. Okay, when we have those lusty desires, when we have certain desires and we are envious, we wanted that moha is there, then we cannot have an encounter with the Lord. A virtuous one, you have only once seen my person. This is just to increase your desire to me. This is what I was trying to tell. So what happens is sometimes Krishna gives a little bit of audience and he goes away. Same thing happened with the gopis. And gopis actually in the rasa dance, he vanished. The gopis were dancing with him, and suddenly Krishna goes away. And then the gopis sing the beautiful song of Gopi Geetam, right? They say, oh Krishna, we cannot exist without you. Where did you go? They all cry out. Why does the Lord do this? The Lord does this so that our lalasa to see, the anchoring and the longing to see the Lord increases. Then we can perform better bhakti. See, there are 2 types of bhakti. One is in association, when you're seeing the Lord and then you do bhakti. One is in viraha, and that viraha bhakti is more pure, it says. In separation, vipralamba bhav, when you do bhakti, it is more pure. Why? Because it is more continuous. See, if you're always with the Lord, the continuity is there, but you're like, we'll do. Anyway, Lord is there, I'll do. That continuity will not be there. Your consciousness will not be continuous. But when you are in separation, you're always constantly thinking of the Lord. So that continuity of bhakti is there. So in bhakti, it is considered that Vipralamba Bhav is more sacred, more higher stage of bhakti than being in association, being in contact with the Lord. And to sometimes when we are also doing bhakti, or these great sages are doing bhakti, like gopis, like Narad Muni, to increase the intensity, that longing for the Lord will give one vision and he'll take it away, so that you get more attached to the Lord and you perform more bhakti. More seriously you perform bhakti. Oh virtuous one, you have only once seen my person. This is to increase your desire for me, because the more you anchor for me, the more you will be freed from material. See, another side effect of anchoring for the Lord, that lalasamayi, they say, that will remove all your papa. It will remove all your material desires, and it will free you from all the papa and material desires. And that's why Krishna does that. So to rapidly increase your path, progress in bhakti, Krishna gives a little bit of audience and he takes it away. And what was the benediction he gave? By service of the absolute truth, even for a few days, a devotee attains firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate in the transcendental world. So he's giving a benediction. He's saying, Narad Muni, you will become an associate. You will be with me all the time very soon. Continue to perform this bhakti, right? I've given you one vision so that now you can increase your intensity. Now that you know that I am there, right? Now that longing will increase. With that longing increasing, your material desires will reduce, your papa will reduce, and you'll be able to perform Dridhavrata Bhakti. And once you keep performing, what happens at one stage? You'll become an associate of mine, he says. Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time. This is another important thing. Whether it is annihilation or creation, don't worry about all those things. Continue to have me in your intelligence and in your mind. What happened when Brahma's night came? Brahma's night came, morning came, many years it is, right? 4,32,000 years it is. He continued to have Krishna in his mind and he continued to do bhakti. It is very beautifully given in Srila Prabhupada's purport in chapter 5, chapter 6, where he says what happened is Brahma's 100 years got over. Brahma went into the stomach of Mahavishnu, and at that time Narad Muni also went into the Karanodakaya Vishnu's stomach. And when they came out, 7 rishis manifest. Every time a Manvantara starts or Brahmaji's day starts, the rishis will come out first. When the rishis came out first, I also came out as Narad Muni. He remembers that and he says, whether it is the annihilation of your body or the annihilation of the universe, one thing you have to remember. What is that? Krishna. You should always remember Krishna. Whether it is creation time, annihilation time, or whether you are giving up your body, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what situation you are in. You should constantly remember Krishna. When you have Krishna in your chitta, what is happening to this material body or the material universe, it doesn't matter. You will continue to remember me, and because of my mercy, he says, your remembrance will continue by my mercy. He gave 2 benediction. One is you'll become an associate. 2 is you'll always remember me. No matter the situation, whether annihilation is happening, creation is happening, whether you are giving up your body or Brahma's 100 years is over, Brahma's night is falling, no matter what, you will remember me. That means you take different bodies also, you will remember me. That is a benediction the Lord gave, right? Because of these 2 benedictions, that child actually took the form of Narad Muni. When complete annihilation happened and when Brahma also entered the body of Mahavishnu, and the child also entered the body of Mahavishnu, when they came out, Brahma came out, he created 7 sages, Marichi, all those sages he creates. When he was creating the sages, I also came out as Narad Muni. That's what he says. That is how, Narad Muni became Narad Muni. And then he continued to play his veena and he said, all that I do is glorify the Lord. I go from my travel from one place to another place. I induce bhakti in Gandharvas, in every kind of entity, living entity. He travels to them and he induces bhakti in them. That is the job of Narad Muni. After telling all these things, he starts playing the transcendental sound on his veena and he walks away. And that is the end of Narad Muni's encounter with Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva after that starts writing